This is my recap video for September 24th, or if you're a B-Day class, this will apply to you on September 25th. So this is going to be a really quick one because a lot of what we did today was centered around you. So let's just get started so we can get it done. So if you're looking in the September 21st folder, the week of September 21st, you'll see the first thing, which is the warm-up for today. And these questions are dependent upon you having read the story Rogue Wave. So Scoot and Sully, they go on the boat because Sully is teaching his little sister Scoot how to sail a boat in deep water. We talked about for number two that the story is written in third person point of view, which remember, third person is kind of like a camera, like a movie watching something. So it's written in third person, but we talked about the different ways in which it could be different if it was in first person from Scoot's point of view. Now, remember, Scoot is the sister who is trapped below deck in the ship as it flips over with the wave. So part of the tension and part of the point of the way the author crafts this story is we're seeing things from third person with a camera. If you want to think of it like a movie, the camera's on Sully on the outside of the ship. And that builds that suspense for a little bit until we find out that Scoot's okay. We're like, what's happening down there? Just like Sully. And then the third thing, which kind of ties into that, how is Sully's conflict different from Scoot's? So remember, he's dealing with not only the external conflict with the wave, obviously, he's got this internal conflict. He has no idea if Scoot's even still alive. Like, even if he's able to surmise the fact that she's down underneath the deck, there's no way to know that she's alive. It's not like he can text her and be like, hey, you okay down there? So this is a very scary situation for him, and it's character versus self in the sense that he needs to keep his fear intact and keep his wits about him so he can get both of them out of this problem. And then number four, I asked about the part of speech adjectives. The reason why I asked about this is because adjectives are always going to be character traits. Or character traits are always going to be adjectives, I should say. A noun is a person, place, or thing, in case you never learned that. A verb is an action word. And then an adjective is something that describes the person, place, or thing. So remember, when you're coming up with character traits, you're going to want to come up with adjectives. So going back into our folder, there was also a pop quiz. So if you were absent, you need to go back and make that up. It's only worth 3 points. It's 5 questions. And if you did the reading, I guarantee you were going to get a good score. And even if you don't get such a good score, it's not going to ruin your grade, but it lets you know you need to keep up with the homework, right? Let's talk about the classwork. And unfortunately, if you were absent, then you are going to need to do this on your own because we did most of this in group works in the breakout rooms. So the directions here, as it says, you need to submit your own individual document. And let's look at my example here. So I've given you a list of words to describe Scoot and Sully. You need to pick one of these words, and then, as the directions say, find two passages in the story that support your claim that Scoot or Sully fit into that character trait. So I used an easy one. I said that Sully's experienced, and I put that here. And why is he experienced? Because Sully had sailed her at least a dozen times. He'd been around boats, motor, and sail for many of his 19 years. So and if I were actually doing the assignment, I would need to find a second passage. Here, obviously, you can see where I've just written blah, 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 blah. Now, why are we doing it this way? Because in case you don't remember, or you have maybe never have done it this way before, when you're writing an argument, you're going to claim, cite, clarify. The claim is your opinion. So my opinion is that Sully is experienced. My cite, which would be my evidence from the text, is this quote that I showed you right here. And then clarify, if I were writing an essay, I would do something along the lines of, this passage shows that he's experienced because most of his entire life he's been sailing. So see how those three things work together, because then you can formulate an argument, defend that argument, and then explain your argument even further. So that's why we're doing it the way we're doing it. I'm just asking you to do basically step one and step two here. Now, going back into our September 21st folder, one last thing, and that was pretty much it for class today, is that you need to complete the homework questions here, and you need to read up to line 312. Now, some of you may or may not want to read the entire story. That's totally okay. I'm only asking you to read up to line 312 for now. Now, one last thing that I want to note about the homework is that I put the line numbers here specifically for a reason. So on the last homework, a few people were pulling evidence from different parts of the text rather than where I had put the line numbers. The whole idea of this is practice, practice, practice for district tests and assessments, as well as the state test. And what I mean is this: you will most certainly see a question, something along the lines of, in paragraph 3, how does the author show that this character is mean, or something like that? And that's just an example of, you need to use that particular paragraph that they're asking for in order to get full credit. So this is just practice, practice, practice. So again, that pretty much wraps up what we did in class today for September 24th. And like I said, if you're a B-Day person viewing this, then September 25th. And hopefully that helps out with any problems you might have had.